Hey, what is going on, everybody? My name's Luke, and today we're going to be taking a look at something in the game that's been around for a while, but it's something that's very important in the competitive scene, and that is the sniper strike teams. So, before I start and get into this, I just want to start off by saying that this is very focused for competitive play. So, you don't have to be worried about this so much in the, just playing for fun, beer and pretzels games, whatever, with your buddies. But this is going to be focused for the competitive tournament players. So, yep. So, the sniper strike teams are arguably one of the best units in the game, if not the best unit in the game. Every tournament list, as far as the high command went, the top 8 had at least two. Um, and then, well, with the exception of Lupo, but he does his own thing. That guy's pretty nuts. I myself ran three, just because I thought you know they're gonna give me my best chance of winning if I take three of them. So I took three of them. Um, so there might be a little problem with them if they're in every list. I don't know. The same could be said for the corpse, but corpse are required. So um, the biggest problem I see with them is that they're so limiting with the actual list building. So if you're always having to take two at least, if not three, then you can't dip into those other cool special forces because they're taking up the slots. Maybe you can fit one in, or if you have entourage, you can fit like two. But for me, at least, like I don't even want to take IRG or the Death Troopers. I mean, I haven't tested much with the Death Troopers yet, but I don't even want to take them because snipers, you got to have two of them in your list. And why you need to have two of them is not even for the fact that they're so good, which is one of the main facts, but like if you don't have them, you're going to get annihilated by someone who has two or three. And we're going to get into why they're so good and what makes them so efficient. But, like if you have something in the game where it's almost mandatory as far as competitive scene goes, it just kind of limits and restricts what the army compositions can be as far as like creative thought and designing them. So we're gonna take a look at that and why they're so good. Okay, so I know that this is nothing new. We've had these units out since August or September, but I mean the stats are very important and why they're so good. Um, Starting off with each team, they both have low profile. It's better with the full squad, but even in the smaller squad, it's useful if you have nowhere to put them and one gets picked off or something. Then you get the suppression. Now they have heavy cover, even just suppression wise, in the open. Or if you can only find light cover, now you still got that heavy cover. They both have scout. Empire only has Scout 1, but Rebels have Scout 2. So that means, out of your deployment zone, you can find somewhere, usually, you can always find a line of sight blocker with that 4 or 6 inches. And you don't even necessarily need it for your sniper, right? Because you only need to hide the other guy. So if you include the cohesion limits, you basically have 8 inches from deployment zone or 10 inches for the rebels. So that in itself is a huge distance. It's almost like a guaranteed that you'll be able to find something. Some boards you can't, but that's very rare, very rare. Then moving on, they each have sharpshooter 1. So that means that the best you can have against this sniper is light cover, which is one of the reasons why they're so good. So if they're shooting at you and you only have light cover to begin with, now you have no cover. Or if you're just have a suppression, they can usually find a shot where you just have no cover again. So that means, putting a hit through isn't as hard as if you had, heavy cover, obviously. Then the snipers themselves give you the keyword Pierce. This is probably the best weapon keyword in the game. And they also have high velocity, which is also really good. So you can't spend dodges against them. So Pierce, it doesn't matter unless you're immune Pierce or impervious, but impervious isn't as good. But it doesn't matter your save. You're taking a wound if they get a hit through. So like, what makes them so good again is that they're 44 points, right? It's just such a cheap unit. They're the cheapest unit in the game, next to like Sab strike teams, but I would argue that they're higher costed because you need to run emergency stims on them, in my opinion, for them to be good. So that brings them to 50 versus 44, and then you can run like naked trooper squads for 40 or 44 points, but I think that a sniper is better than a naked trooper squad anyways. So, I mean, even if you don't get the kill shot with the sniper aiming and firing, they're going to put down the suppression. I mean, it's almost like a guaranteed that you get at least one hit and put down suppression on a unit. And in the early game, when they're trying to, set up and get their movements into their units into position, that suppression is key, especially in, ultra competitive. Every activation you lose is huge. So what are we thinking for how to fix it? I don't know. I think one thing that they could do is just get rid of them completely. That would open up a ton of new options. You could run 7 activation lists. You could run 8 activation lists with like Vader and Palp and stuff like this. You could still run the sniper with, the full team, but then you got to take a full team, which is, I mean, it's not that terrible of an idea. Competitive lists right now are at the point where if you don't have 10 or 11 activations, I don't think you are going to do so well. Even 9 is cutting it short, I think. I think you really need to be 10 or 11. And, I mean, if you don't have the sniper in your army, you're basically guaranteeing yourself to get wrecked by enemy snipers. Because then they can just sit there and, have their way with your army. Because the only way to kill snipers really is your own snipers, right? Snipers just sit in the backfield and take shots. And if you don't want them to take shots, you're hiding your army. And if you're hiding your army, you're not moving up. And you're not winning the objective game. So, I mean, it's so tough not to run 2, at least. If you run 1, you might be able to get away with it if you're very careful with them. And just use it for like sniper hunting. But even just 1 is just so fragile. Because once you lose the first model in a sniper team, then it just becomes like, if you pull them out, then they're probably going to die to, enemy snipers. So, it's tough to say. And yes, there's things like coordinated bombardment and maximum firepower, but, the Empire gets away with that by just hiding on the first round. They just completely hide, don't even peek, and then you just spot her with Veers, so that then they can pop out with the name. And then the Rebels themselves have coordinated bombardment, so they usually, if it's not a mirror match, they can just, start out in the open with their sniper and hiding the other dude. So, I mean, they're just so good. And then when you get to the late game, like if you have 2 full sniper teams still alive and it's in the late game, maybe 5 or 6, You can even start moving them up to get that extra dude shooting in there. Rebels have it easier because they're range 3, but Empire, if they get close enough, hits harder. And they can just wipe out squads. I've had sniper strike teams just take out full units of snows before, just on them by themselves. At high command, actually, in one of my games, or maybe it wasn't high command, I think it was the LCQ. But my snipers single-handedly took down Han in 2.5 rounds. Nothing else shot at him, only my snipers. Even if they didn't hit him, they were putting suppression on, and he only had one act every time that he went. Sorry. So even if they didn't kill him outright, he was still very limited in what he could do. He basically did nothing in the game. But I was able to roll those, hits or crits or whatever. One of the keys to that was that my opponent didn't even have any snipers, so mine just sat and lined up shots all day. So, I mean, let me know what you guys think. I think that they're a little too good. One thing that could be done is maybe like increasing the points. But then how do you increase the points without ruining like a full man squad with the sniper, or ruining like the SAB squads? So I don't know. Maybe you limit it to one sniper strike team that you can take in an army. That'd be an interesting way. Another good one would be you can't hide the second guy. So in order to get like that sharpshooter, you need essentially like a spotter to be out there, so you can't completely hide him. I don't know though, because then that makes them so susceptible to like coordinated bombardment and maximum firepower. So I don't know. I think they're just so limiting right now. I mean, every list I build starts off with 2 snipers at least, and I'm usually throwing in a third. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about it. Other than that, we got some exciting stuff coming out in the game, so hopefully it'll shake things up a little bit. I'm trying to focus on a list for Worlds, so I don't know how that's gonna go. But it's fun. It's fun testing around and playing with the new units. So, yep. Other than that, have a great day, everybody, and hope you enjoyed the video.